Hello and welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
1991 was a stunning and amazing year in music, and we tackled about half of it last week. And so here we are back. My name is Russ, along with Kyle and Michelle, to discuss the second half of 1991 and the incredible albums that were released that year. And it's funny, I have some listener feedback to share, but like more than a few people just mentioned to me personally that were like, yeah, I thought it was weird. You thought you were going to do 1991 in one episode.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah. So more than a few people were like at the top of the episode were like, yeah, I was real glad to hear you guys made that choice.
Shut up, man.
Thank you for the feedback, Michelle says. I have to find a way to, there's a John Mulaney bit about a guy who yells that a bride is ugly at a wedding, and he wants the audio editor to be able to be like, wow, she's beautiful. So I need to be able to do that with you, like put a drop in where like, you're like, yeah, well, thank you for listening.
I just need an interpreter.
Right. Yes. If we could get, well, you know what? That's the first, if our show ever like takes off and we sign any sort of like huge contract with Spotify or something, the first position we should put up is a Michelle translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like their entire job would just be to sit here.
To tell you the difference between REM and
they're my, can they be my official Googler?
Yeah. The person who's most likely to Google things for you.
That'd be a good paying job.
Well, if depending on our contract and what you're paying, because that is coming out of your cut.
Oh, I'm paying with my personality.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's why we need a translator, because of your personality being
and baby snuggles.
Right. Sure. Oh, well, then, yep. My wife's in for that job. Then.
No, she's on it for the first part. She already hates doing the first part.
Yeah, she's already your part-time Googler.
Yeah, and she already gets the baby snuggles, and she still doesn't like the part-time Googling.
Yeah,
so.
I know, which is weird.
I know.
So, as far as small talk goes, I mentioned for a couple of weeks that we were coming up on 700 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and we're actually coming up on like 750 now, which is awesome.
Dang.
And on the socials on Twitter, we're like real close to 3,000 followers, which is pretty sweet. So
I don't even know 3,000 people.
Well, you do now. So, a lot of angry people out there about you. A lot of angry people out there. And then as far as the first part of this episode went, we did get quite a bit of feedback, which I knew we would from the first half of the year. And the fact that like the second half of the year is just going to be ridiculous. So
would it be redonkulous?
No, that hadn't been invented yet. Here comes the feedback.
Feedback, John. Don't worry about that. Right. Rock and roll be without feedback.
Yeah, 1991 was before people just started cross-pollinating words for no reason whatsoever.
Like that's not a thing. I feel like there was. I'm going to think of some.
How about this? Kyle and I will carry the episode. You take the whole rest of the episode to think about that.
I'm on it.
Listener Bob said that he was listening to last week's podcast, and for sure, Nirvana taking over is largely blown out of proportion. They did not kill everything overnight. I was still seeing Def Leppard in arenas in 1993, which backs up what I was talking about. Like the way that it's reported now is 100% different than how it happened.
That myth only exists nowadays.
For sure.
Because of how monstrous the album was.
Let's sell the romanticizing, of that era. Yeah. And then I kind of put out a couple of tweets this week just being like, hey, what were some of your favorite records from 91? Asking people that. And most of the replies started with something along the lines of like too many to mention. And the We Needed Roads podcast said, Nevermind, the Metallica Black Album, 10, Bad Motorfinger, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Out of Time by REM, Use Your Illusion album, Slave to the Grind, and Temple of the Dog, to name a few. So, yeah, just
a couple?
Yeah, just a few. Chicago Mike, who, by the way, that's Mike Downing. Michelle, he's from Chicago, so we call him Chicago Mike.
Natively?
Yeah. We're going to have to get him to call in about that. We'll have a whole segment, get to know your listeners.
What's your social security number? What hospital were you born in?
Mother's maiden name.
Yes, please.
Mike says, excellent call out on The Divinal. Such a great album. Mark Cohen's debut album, Walking in Memphis, is another great one, too. And Great White's Hooked album, Just for Desert Moon Alone. The Mark Cohen, I totally forget that song is that old. For some reason, Walking in Memphis, I always think is like newer than it is.
Oh, I think it's way older than that.
Have you ever heard that song? Is Mark Cohen here in the studio?
I didn't want to get us fined.
Did you guys get that as a surprise for me? Because did you guys just hear that in your cans just now? It sounded exactly like Mark Cohen.
Is that the song?
Oh boy, yes, that's the song.
Yes.
See?
That's the song. One of the things I put out saying, "What's your favorite album from '91?" And Shelley replied, "Anything other than Hole," which is a long running joke between her and I because I like the band Hole a great deal. And their first album, Pretty on the Inside, came out in 1991. I specifically left it off the list because I didn't want anybody to be like, "Oh yeah, but Hole sucks." So I thought it was funny.
Hole and Nirvana had a big album that year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they did. And Hole's next album, Live Through This, came out like 4 days after Kurt passed away. So there's that. But anyways, she also mentioned Achtung Baby 10 by Pearl Jam, which Achtung Baby is just a monster record that we'll get into in a little bit. This is off the topic of last week's episode, but just us in general. There's the Geek Peak podcast that listens to us, and this is like one of those circle of life moments. They tweeted at us the other day that Parker Millsap had a new single on Spotify, and they were like, "You guys got to hear this. Like, I wouldn't have known of Parker Millsap without you guys suggesting them," or him rather. So I thought that was really cool that they.
Is it the Spotify one? The Spotify
like
one?
Acoustic
Sessions,
version.
Spotify
So it's not a
Sessions.
new song, but it's a acoustic version.
Yeah, I listened to that. Well, because after you said that, I was like, "Ooh, new Parker Millsap," and then that's one that I ran into, and I was like, "I wonder if that's the one."
Well, you can thank the Geek Peak Pod for
Yay.
telling us about that. And then, of course, I replied and tagged Parker Millsap and said, "Boy, we sure would like to have him on the show sometime."
We
and,
would.
And the Geek Peak Pod agrees. They
So
said
you can
that
tell
would
them
be-
how bad Damn It is and how it's such a great
No
song.
one said it was bad. No one neither of us like it as much as you do is all.
Yeah.
I
sure
bet
you
if we
both
got
said it
him
was
on the
bad.
show, he wouldn't like it as much as you do.
All right, I guess he has to come on now.
Right, exactly. The Backtracker History Show said their favorite albums from 91 are Diamonds and Pearls, both Use Your Illusion albums, and REM Out of Time, which I totally agree with. They said they were great albums then and now, which I think that's one thing too, and we'll get into this later, but so much from 91 holds up. Like, you know what I mean? There's very little that you're like,
For whatever reason, music from back in the day doesn't date like it does today. So,
Yeah.
like, you can still listen to it. You can still listen to any
like
record that
all
we're
of your
talking
Jammy
about.
Jams ever.
Yeah.
in 2 months, Kyle's like, I don't even remember who that was.
Yeah, like all the stuff that we're mentioning, you can listen to now, and it's like they came out like
Yeah.
last week. Like
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's almost like back then it was real artists making real
that's
music
strange.
for real people.
That is strange.
And then what is it now? Oh, that's right. It's not that anymore. That's right.
Industry plants.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Dean from the UK, who's had taken the time out to write us several comments in the past, said, I've never really thought about it, but 1991 as a collective terms of output and artists truly was a stellar amount of stellar records released that year. Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Innuendo, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 are among my favorite records. I actually thought Automatic for the People came out in 1991. That's not Pearl Jam, that's REM, Michelle. Just FYI.
And they're the Andy Kaufman people?
Correct.
Got it.
Yes. And the first Andy Kaufman song is on Automatic for the People.
And which one is from Seattle?
Pearl Jam.
So not the Andy Kaufman
Correct.
people. Got it.
REM is from any idea at all?
Atlanta.
Yes.
What?
Did
Are you shitting me?
Nope. Did you just pull that out of your complete ass?
I totally knew that.
Athens, Georgia, but still, like, close. It was Georgia and an A.
You about to shit your pants.
You goddamn right I did. Who,
Out of all of the cities.
you know, on like YouTube and stuff, they'll be like, smash the like button if you smash the subscribe button if you are shocked that Michelle had any concept. I was waiting for it to be like, are they from Japan?
Are they British?
So anyways, Dean, thank you so much for causing this to happen. So anyways, he said, I actually thought that Automatic for the People was released in 1991 until you said Out of Time was released in 1991, which is another stellar album. Unfortunately, I do not own, but I'm about to rectify, which Dean is one of those people that has like jokingly complained about how much money we keep costing him.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And Out of Time is such a good record. Like, it's so good. The whole thing gets reduced to, oh, that's the Losing My Religion album. But the rest of it is so stellar. So that is a lot of the written feedback that we got from social media. And as I always mention, you can call us at 313-364-9899. And last week I mentioned that I was sad that we hadn't had a voicemail from Seth. And Seth took care of that for us.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah, which I bet he's going to record that shit. He should use that as a Seth. I give you full permission to clip Michelle saying thank you, Seth, and use it on your show.
I don't give you permission.
Hey everybody, this is Seth. I heard the bat signal on last week's podcast, so I figured I'd call in and grace you all with my audibility, with my voice. This week, I don't have too much to comment on, but I really think that we need the Black Parade to become an album review. If Michelle does not pick it, I'm definitely voting for that for the listeners' request. And contrarily, I think we need to pick Temple of the Dog's album for Michelle, so she can learn about Temple of the Dog.
Yes.
So I hope that my suggestions will come to fruition. We'll see. I just wanted to put the feelers out there so you guys can make it happen. And I look forward to next week, or what I guess is this episode, the part 2 of 1991, which I really enjoyed listening to the first part of. So I'm very excited to listen to the rest of this episode. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.
First of all, thank you, as always.
Thank you, Seth.
I like that she knows how to use the buttons when it's for her point.
Yes.
That's great.
Duh. It also gave me Seth gave me a whole 30 seconds for me to find the buttons.
Yeah, that's true. I like, though, how you were under the impression that Seth called in. You were like talking back to him as if that wasn't a recording.
He did call in.
Yeah, but it wasn't a live interaction.
Tomato, potato.
You're over here, everything he's saying, you're like, preach. Go on.
We also made comments to your to the Manscaped ad.
Oh, you sure
also
do.
Not a call in.
When I was editing last week, we don't have a Manscaped ad this week, but last week when I was editing the episode, I was like laughing out loud at you guys laughing at what I had to read for the Manscaped ad, which, we don't have a Manscaped ad, but, you can always go to manscaped.com and use our code GROOVE for
do that
20% off and free shipping. But having said that, if you would like to get involved in any sort of feedback, there's probably a certain amount of people that were like waiting. I feel like we talked about this before with music fans where like some people are like waiting to pounce. Like I feel like people are waiting for like part 2 so they can be like, you forgot this one, like.
Would you call them haters?
No, I would call them hardcore music appreciators.
After this episode comes out, we will get messages like that.
For sure. Well, I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to step in it and say I've covered all.
Nevermind.
Yeah. No. First of all, no, we didn't. But I appreciate that joke, and I'll give you time to find out. There it is. Fantastic.
These are in alphabetical order, and I still can't find them.
Yeah, I put them in alphabetical order, thinking it would be easier for you. That was real dumb on my part.
That's because you assume I know the alphabet.
Solid. If you would like to leave us feedback, please do so on any of our social media. You can go directly to our website and do it. You can call 313-364-9899 and leave us whatever feedback you would like. And it is time for our next exciting segment, Our Jammies. I have a kind of a boring week going, actually. I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that the new GNR single Absurd grew on me, and I was pretty upset about it. Well, I'm no longer upset about it, and I've listened to that song like 100 times this week.
Why are you no longer upset about it?
It's a long story. I'm sure someday we'll cover the Chinese Democracy Saga, like When You Need a Nap or something. We'll cover it. But I first heard the song was originally called Silkworms, and they played it back in like 2001. And I, like, as recently as last year, was telling people that is the worst thing I've ever heard come out of anything to do with GNR, and it's just and I hope they never officially release it. And then they like reworked it somewhat and released it as a single, and I was super, super mad about that. And then it's grown on me. So I don't know what's happening.
So have you tried listening to the Kings of Leon new record again? Maybe that'll happen?
Perhaps, maybe. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. But
I'm not trying to pressure you. I just think it's okay too. But I was just wondering if it's just because it's GNR, if it's just because.
Yeah.
Russ has a lot invested in that song because of knowing about it for so long.
Because of being angry about it for so long.
Yes.
I've seen, since they did, because I've never seen him do that song. Well, I did the other day. I saw him do the new version live. But all the time that I would see GNR live between like 2002 and 2016, they never did that song. And every show I was like, please don't play it. Please don't play it. Please don't play it. Like, I didn't even want to waste like 5 minutes of my life on that song. So now that it's been reworked, it's a whole different deal, and I've been listening to it a great deal. And I'm just, if anything, GNR is known for long songs, which you two made abundantly clear is not your thing on the Pink Floyd episode.
Are they really?
But oh yeah, I'm sure someone's done the math on it. But like, November Rain's one of their biggest hits. It's a 9-minute ballad. Estranged is longer than that. That's a big hit. Coma's like 7 or 8 minutes long. Locomotives 7 or 8 minutes long.
Isn't November Rain long too, or no?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like 9 minutes or so. But
sorry,
but no makeup.
Because you wanted to.
But this song "Absurd" by GNR is like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So I think that's why I listen to it more, because when it's over,
would you say that's absurd.
I would say it's absurd.
Oh, boy.
I would say it's absurd. So anyways, other than that, really, this whole week, there was new stuff that came out that I just haven't got to yet. The new Sturgill Simpson record came out. And
Another one? What in the fuck?
Yeah, I hate it when great artists put out music.
So weird.
Oh, man, what dicks. So anyways, there was a bunch of other stuff that came out. Yeah, you damn right, great music. Wait till it's Kyle's turn for another album review, because I'm pretty sure you're going to be reviewing a Sturgill Simpson album pretty soon.
I feel like, so here's what's going to happen is we're just going to start picking revenge albums. We'll be like, fuck you have to listen to this
We'll
week.
turn it into 2 different series. There'll be the real album review and then the spiteful album reviews. It sounds to me like we got a season 5 idea. The only other thing I did was because of last week's episode, I just got on a huge 1991 kick. Like, I've been listening to Ozzy, No More Tears, Michael Jackson, Dangerous, was a Pearl Jam 10 stuff, and just listening to those front to back and just being like, Jesus, what amazing albums, you know? So that was really what the big deal was for me. Kyle, what have your Jamie Jams been?
Speaking of Sturgill Simpson.
Oh boy.
Oh man. The new album.
Dude and Juanita?
The Ballad of Dude and Juanita. Yeah. Which I heard people were like all giving him a hard time about the title for some reason.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because the internet.
Yeah. Like, who gives a shit what the title is?
I know one person who was all mad that he even put out a new album. I don't want to name names, but it's somebody I know.
I will tell you that, in my personal opinion, Sturgill Simpson is a national treasure.
You goddamn right.
And this album lives up to everything else that he has done, but in a different way, like he always does.
I heard it's country again.
It is. It's like
the first 2.
Yeah. Like,
Sweet.
it's country, and it's not even.
And it's a concept album again, right? It's the story.
It's the story
Nice.
of the. Yeah. It's awesome. You should listen to it if you like his other stuff. His other stuff. Yeah.
I know. I try. You know, I'm bougie about this. I try to listen on vinyl. With artists that I love, I try to listen on vinyl straight through first.
Yeah.
And because of what's happening in the vinyl plants right now, the vinyl version of this isn't coming out till like October.
Oh.
So for now, I'm trying to remain strong, but it's probably not going to happen. Like, I'm probably going to listen to the whole thing on streaming before it comes out on vinyl.
Yeah, if you liked his what is it, the Butcher Shop sessions? If you like that kind of stuff, then you'll like this album for sure, because it's very much in the same line of like old school country, but it's great.
Right on. What else you got?
I also found myself re-listening over and over and over again to Pressure Machine by The Killers.
Oh, right on.
Because I really
growing on you.
Yes, there is a song.
That's a twofer.
The title track is called The Hills, and it is. I just have listened.
Wait a minute. The title track on Pressure Machine is called The Hills.
I mean, the first song. On
okay,
the album,
I was like, what did I miss?
That makes no sense. Yes.
Did they change the definition of title track and no one told me?
The opening track is what I meant.
Opening track,
yes, not title track. It's called West Hills.
Okay.
And it is, I don't know, I just found myself listening to this song over and over again. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this whole thing again. And it is very much growing on me. I've been able to detach myself from the fact that it's The Killers.
Right.
So it is a great album for what it is, not a great Killers album.
Which you have to do that sometimes. Like, I think I won't go right to GNR like I always do, but like with Metallica, like with Load and Reload and whatnot, people were just like, oh, well, this isn't what I think Metallica should sound like. And you're like, okay, well, too bad. You know?
Yeah.
So like, I like that you're able to do that, because a lot of people won't.
So the reason I think that I can relate to this album more is because I'm going to keep it short, but there is a YouTube channel called Soft Boy Underbelly, and it's this dude that just does interviews with people. And he goes to like Appalachia and like interviews these people who like have lived in the mountains for their entire lives and never have left. And that's kind of like what this album reminds me of. It's very much like tells the story of these people up in the mountains that have never left and just have raised their kids and had families from this small little town.
So it sounds like Brandon Flowers got real high.
Yeah, he very well may have. And it's definitely a concept album that if you can detach the fact that it is a Killers album, you might like.
Right on.
Yes.
So, and it's, like you said, completely different than what they've done before.
Oh, yeah.
But growing on you.
Yes.
Right on. And I think, not to plug our own playlist again, but I think a lot of times that's what our playlist helps people with. Like, I think, if you just hear that randomly on a playlist and you're not invested in like, this is the Killers' new album and I need to judge this right now. If it just comes on randomly on a playlist with all these other songs, you might be more apt to be like, oh, that's a cool tune, and you can be more open to it.
You also have to listen to it track by track, because there's these important interludes that are at the beginning of the songs that like go with the particular song.
Well,
that's
playing. Michelle's favorite thing is an interlude.
Yeah,
so.
I tried to play the album for her.
I bet that didn't go well at all. Oh no!
Shut up.
Just be quiet with your interludes. So anyways, yeah, so
beyond that, I heard something funny about Kanye West, so that put me on to listening to Watch the Throne again, because it's one of the greatest works that he's ever put out, and it's one of Jay-Z's greatest works.
I was just going to ask, I'm not super Kanye knowledgeable, but that's the album he did with him and Jay-Z.
Yeah, so then there's rumors flying around that there's going to be a second Watch the Throne. But anyways, I had heard through the grapevine that he wanted to put the N-word in every track on the record to make people have to say it, make people confront the word itself.
Yeah.
And they were just like, nope, that's not happening. But the song N-Word in Paris became the most popular track on the record.
Yeah.
And that's the one they left the N-word in the title.
By the way, I should be a total jerk when I'm editing and just beep it every time you're saying it and make it sound like you're saying the word.
Whoa, Kyle.
Yeah.
Hard R and everything?
Yeah. Come on, Kyle. Man.
So after hearing that,
so fun to do, but I'm not going to do it.
After hearing that, I was like, that's kind of hilarious that like he just had this crazy idea and they were just like, no, you're not doing that.
And then, but then the biggest single.
Yeah, and the biggest single ended up being that with the title.
What was the name of it again?
What? N-word in Paris?
I can't believe you keep saying that word. So anyway,
that is a fantastic record. If no one's ever heard it, you should just go hear it.
Right on. Yeah, I do. I need to look at later Kanye material than I own the first two, and it's not like I haven't heard more, but I need to go back and get more. I probably stepped in it for not asking you ahead of time, Michelle. But
you totally didn't give me enough time.
Is there any chance you have any jammy jams at all to share with our crowd?
I have one.
Nice.
You went back to the office and you only have one?
I just assumed that was going to be your answer. What's the rim shot again?
I know. I just kept putting on. I couldn't find a groove this week. I was like, now I have time to like listen to whatever I want.
And then not so much.
And I kept putting on all this shit, and I was like, this is not what I want to listen to. This is not what I want to listen to.
But you did listen to what's his name's new record, right?
Whom?
No, they have one song.
Oh, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats?
Oh,
Harry Potter and the Meat Sweats?
Yeah,
that's not what I was
Harry
talking
Potter
about.
and the Meat Sweats.
Yes, that's my one jammy jam. Is the Survivor song?
What's it called?
Survivor.
Okay, I thought there was a longer title than that.
Nope. I dig it a lot. It's not typical Meat Sweats. It's
when I first heard it, I was almost like until it got to the first chorus, I was like, no, thank you.
Oh, you don't like it?
And then then it took off, and then upon further lessons, I was like, yeah.
No, I dig it.
Yeah.
What I was talking about was the new Anderson East album.
It's not a jam, though.
That's another new record that I meant to listen to and didn't, so I can't.
I will say there is a fire jam on that record, but it's called Madeline. Mm-hmm. Hot damn.
All right.
That was a single that was released, I thought.
Was it? I don't know. It's a hot jam, though.
I didn't listen to the whole thing, but
yeah, not so much.
Let me. I'm not gonna make a call until I listen to it all the way through. I know. So come back to me in like 6 months when I get a chance to listen to it from front to back.
Anderson East's whole career rests in the balance, of course.
I know.
Good Lord. All right, I'm going to take us to break because if I learned anything last week, it is the fact that we have a lot to talk about with 1991. So I'm going to take us to break. When we come back, we are going to get into the second half of our albums released in 1991 discussion. And if you thought the first half was crazy, wait till we get into July through December because it's fire. You are listening to the Infectious Crew podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
I'm Jamie.
We're Married with Television, marriedwithtv.com. We are a couple of Hollywood normies on the outskirts of the film and TV industry, and we talk about our favorite TV shows, music, and movies, and sometimes they talk back to us.
Sometimes they do.
Our podcast is Married with Television, one word, on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Possibly Amazon soon. And we are a proud member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Married with TV.
MarriedWithTV.com.
Welcome everybody to the Body Skew Podcast. I am...
Whoa, dude. No. This is our promo, not the show. I'm Rico.
Oh, sorry. I'm CJ, and we're the hosts of the Body Skew Podcast.
We're fans of pretty much anything and everything pop culture, including movies, TV shows, books, video games, comics, music, and of course, Kevin Smith. Now, while we do keep our fingers on the pulse of Silent Bob, he certainly doesn't need our help in promoting him.
You got that right. We do our own thing, with inspiration from the man himself and his mantra of why not. We've got stories about celebrities, we've interviewed theories of our own for certain movies, and we can usually tend to have a great debate about anything.
We also do commentaries on movies. Sometimes we ask our fans what they want to watch with us. So if you love the timbre of our vocal cords and want to watch a movie at the same time, give us a listen.
Stay tuned every Monday. There's always something new. And if you've been good this year, we may even give you a bonus episode from time to time.
So please be good and subscribe to and enjoy Pod Askew, founding member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
We are back, Russ, Kyle, and Michelle, along with you to get into the second half of 1991 and the amazing records that came out that year. And I was glad to hear more than a few listener feedback on how good the first half of 1991 was, because a lot of people just recognize pretty much from like August on with the year. And like when you got bands like Queen and REM putting out monumental records in February and March, I'm going to go ahead and say that the first half of the year is underrated.
Yeah, we talked about the first half of the year for like a half hour last week. So
that's very good, Michelle.
There must have been something happened then.
Are you showboating, doing a little peacocking over there?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, everybody, I remember what we talked about.
Well,
she knew where REM was from, and now she knows what we talked about last week.
And she had a jammy jam.
Yeah, wow.
3 for 3. 3 for 3.
I'm back.
So, and what I also liked was having some backup on the whole fallacy that is the only thing that happened in 1991 was Nevermind came out, nothing else got released, and Nirvana destroyed everyone else's career.
Wait, that's not what I was told.
I know that's not what you were told. But you are sitting right in the middle of being told otherwise. So we talked in the first half of the year about some of the heavy hitters that came out with records between January and June. And there was a lot of debut albums in that half too, like Seal and Tupac I'm sorry, not Tupac. Tupac's in the second half that we'll get to, but there were a lot of debut records from artists that like are now huge that their first record came out in the first half of 91. So even like that year, it probably wasn't a huge deal, but it went on to be because of them being, becoming legends later. So in the second half, the story of diversity is still there, and I would argue the second half of 91 is just as diverse as the first half, even though all you hear about are like certain albums. But Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers kicked everything off in the second half of the year with Into the Great Wide Open, which is, there's a certain cross-section of Tom Petty fans who strongly dislike that album because Jeff Lynne produced Full Moon Fever, Tom Petty's first real solo album. And the production on that is very glossy, like the sound of Free Fallin'.
Right.
Okay. And the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, up to that point had a very rock and raw sound. And Into the Great Wide Open is also produced by Jeff Lynne and sounds just like Full Moon Fever. So like but it has one of my favorite Tom Petty songs on it, which is Learning to Fly, which is a great, great Tom Petty song. I saw him on the Wildflowers tour, and he finished the whole show. The whole rest of the band left the show, and he sat down by himself and did Learning to Fly on the piano to end the show, and it was awesome.
I wish I would have got to see him live.
You know, Michelle almost saw Tom Petty live. Michelle, you want to give us the full story on that? Tom Petty tickets were entirely too much money?
They were like $65.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wow.
I thought you were going to say like 150. 65 is definitely
a
doable.
bargain to see Tom Petty. Yeah.
Also a national treasure who's no longer with us.
Correct. Yeah. So, Michelle, you ruined it.
I did.
You did. But anyways,
poor man.
Also the title cut Into the Great Wide Open, which I don't know if you guys have maybe like the famous Tom Petty video is Mary Jane's Last Dance with Kim Basinger in it. Johnny Depp is in the video for Into the Great Wide Open, and Faye Dunaway is in it as well. But the story of the song is just Johnny Depp is the rock star in the song. So it's a really cool video that I thought would be bigger than it was. The single was popular and still is. Like, people know that song, but the video people don't really think about at all.
That's because nobody watches music videos.
That's correct. Yes, you're absolutely right. Just 1 week after telling people to watch a music video, Michelle's back off the wagon. Yeah.
This was the beginning of the end of music videos.
Right, yeah. yeah. They totally weren't a completely popular thing all the way up until like the late 2000s. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, you're right. The same day, Trisha Yearwood's debut album came out, which I think is really cool. And she is featured on another album that came out later this year. She was pretty much like a background singer, Nashville session person, and ended up getting her own record deal. But for years she sang backups on like everybody else's big country hits. She was always singing the harmony on, and she's heavily featured on another album that's coming in the discussion later. A really big release from 91 that I don't think gets near as much love as it should is, and again, this is still in July, the Geto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped, which the Geto Boys were huge.
Yep.
Huge. And Michelle, totally.
Yeah,
Michelle,
no idea.
big fan of the Geto Boys by the look on her face. And Michelle, would you like to tell everybody everything you know about the Geto Boys?
Sure.
Yeah, and what is that?
Is there a cricket sound on the thing there?
there is, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And that completes Michelle's entire thoughts. Now, this next one, I don't think you guys might know by name, but there was a band called Big.
Wait, what is the Geto Boys one?
I'm going to leave this open to audio interaction and or audience interaction and ask the audience, someone from the audience, please leave a comment on our Facebook or our Twitter and answer Michelle's question. And I quote, what is the Geto Boys one? Please answer that question for Michelle. Someone, I would greatly appreciate that.
Why can't you answer it? It's because you don't know.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I'm known for, is not knowing a lot of diverse music.
Okay, Kyle.
One thing that a lot of people, I think, didn't become as big as it should have, but it was a huge album in 91, is there's a group called Big Audio Dynamite 2, and they had an album called The Globe that came out. And Big Audio Dynamite 2 is more or less like Rose from the Ashes of The Clash. And what I love about that album is the big hit singles that were off of it were based on samples of songs from The Clash. So, like, Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash. So they had a hit off of that record, the title track, The Globe. And the whole song is based on a sample of Should I Stay or Should I Go. So it's like, oh, well, if other people are going to use samples, of catchy songs to like get their songs to be catchy, we'll just use our own, already super catchy song. So that was a big deal. And then August 12th is really when things start to get serious in the year.
That's it, 8/12/91?
Correct. And there's two completely different albums that came out on the same day. One was Brooks and Dunn, Brand New Man, which I would say is like in the discussion with Garth as far as like things that caused 90s country to blow up as big as it did. Like when the day the Brooks and Dunn album came out, I'm sure nobody, was all over it, but Boot Scootin' Boogie, Neon Moon, like those are classics to this day. And
these are all things that I make Michelle listen to when we go to the bar or the jukebox.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I think you've played Neon Moon when I've been at the bar with you guys.
Asshole.
And on the same day, Metallica happened to release the Black Album, which I think from that day forward was the day you became as invested in music as you are, Michelle, right?
Yeah, when I was 5 years old.
Huge. No, you would have been 6 by now.
No, I was 4 and 5.
Oh, 4 and 5. Sorry. Now I'm forgetting things from last week.
Jeez, do you even know me?
No. So Metallica released the Black Album, and and that's another thing too. When the Black Album came out, it was not this monstrous thing that everyone says that it is. Yes, you can go on YouTube and you can see people waiting in line at midnight to get the album and all that, but you can do that with any album from like 1999 and before, like when people were still buying music in mass. Everyone was in line to get every album at midnight. And the jury the week after the Black Album came out was strongly split, and more so less in favor of the album.
Shame.
Because, you have to remember, though, that they had built their entire fan base on thrash metal. Mm-hmm. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning. These, Michelle. Master of Puppets and Justice for All.
I have them all.
All your favorites.
Yep, I have them all on cassette.
And, me personally, and we've talked about this on the show a lot, I'm a huge defender of the Black Album. I don't like it as much as you do, but I'm a huge defender of it because where else were they supposed to go after putting out 4 perfect thrash metal records?
Yeah. They waited until later in their career to put out shitty music.
Kyle over here thinks the Black Album's shitty. Mark it down.
That's not what
I know. But the Black Album, for me, like a great majority of Metallica fans, like, yes, it put up big numbers and everybody ran to buy it, but like people did not like it when it came out. And that became the thing of like when, the old adage of like, name 4 songs or whatever else. If anybody said that, I'm a Metallica fan, you had to like name off songs before the Black Album or else you weren't really a Metallica fan. You know,
I can't name any Metallica songs.
That's a lie. You can name at least one Metallica song. We'll put you on thinking about it while we move on. A album that just had its 30th birthday the day before we were recording this episode, Spin Doctors, Pocket Full of Kryptonite, which is a great record. And what did you look into 91 at all in between episodes? No, just didn't. The look on Michelle's face right now is
like. You said you were just going to talk about it.
No, I said we all three of us.
She is sitting here looking like. So when does NSYNC happen?
Yeah, about 9 years from now.
Atlantis? Shit.
So the Spin Doctors, who you very much know Little Miss Can't Be Wrong and Two Princes, are from their debut album, Pocket Full of Kryptonite. But to me, what I want to stop off and talk about here is look at the diversity already between July and August. Tom Petty, with classic rock, even at that time, I think people would classify Petty as classic rock.
Yeah.
Trisha Yearwood starting out her country career. Michelle's favorite, the Geto Boys, continuing their rap career. Big Audio Dynamite reinventing their punk sound with a whole different band. You know, Metallica dropping one of the biggest metal records of all time. Like, regardless of how it was received, that it initially would go on to be one of the biggest hard rock metal records of all time. Brooks and Dunn in with more country, and then the Spin Doctors more or less inventing like punk or like pop punkish type music. All on. And there's a lot more blues to the Spin Doctors than, but it's definitely like a punk pop alternative type music that nobody was doing. You know, and you notice this is all happening before Nevermind has hit the shelves. Please, by all means, Michelle, interject, please.
What did Rob call Two Princes?
Oh, you would like to you would like for me to share a personal text conversation with someone that no one on the show even knows.
Oh my God!
What Michelle has interjected into the conversation here is that years ago I used to play in a cover band with a fantastic drummer who texted me one day and said that he would like us to do Just Go Ahead Now by the Spin Doctors.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, but is it okay if we call it Two Princes? Because that's the name of the song. So there was a little background on Michelle's wildly out of left field question just now.
That's where my brain was at.
Right, sure. So then as we move through August, the last 2 weeks, again with the diversity, Pearl Jam 10 drops. And again, we talked about this with like Temple of the Dog last week and Mother Love Bone, where like people that tell you that, oh yeah, I bought 10 the day it came out. No, you did not. Like, no, you did not. Pearl Jam took a while to get off the ground. Like when they came out, they didn't even really know how to market them because it like alternative, quote unquote, hadn't happened yet. And really 10 is like a blues rock album, like with a lot of great guitar solos in it. It's the furthest thing from the image and style that alternative was. The only difference was that instead of having big hair, they were like wearing flannel and whatnot. Like even on the album cover where they're doing the high five, you know, they're wearing like combat boots and flannel and stuff. That's like the only thing you could say is of that image, you know. So Sony didn't even really know what to do with it. They were just kind of like, where does this go? You know? And really, if you listen to the music, I wouldn't know how to market that either in 91 with everything that was going on.
Whoever found them and signed them was onto something, though.
Oh, for sure. Well, I don't even know because they more or less came out of, in many ways, Andy Wood passing away from Mother Love Bone. So I think it was just kind of like a, let's put these.
You're probably right.
It was more them wandering into Eddie Vedder than anything.
Yeah.
Then they were like, oh, that puzzle piece fits. You know, let's do that. And then after that, this I don't think will register with either of you guys, but Tesla had a huge album with Psychotic Supper. And again, showing that like hair metal, quote unquote hair metal, hadn't gone anywhere. And some of Tesla's biggest hits come off of that. Like Love Song is off the album before, and that's really Tesla's biggest hit. But they still had big hits off of Psychotic Supper. Do you know the song What You Give, Michelle, by any chance? No, not off the top of your head. We also would like you to speak. Shaking your heads yes and no does not.
I was thinking, man.
Well, we're going to be here.
I was trying to start the wheel.
Oh my God.
Solid. So then we end up into September and we get Garth Brooks's third album, Rope in the Wind, which is enormous for a number of reasons.
Is this where the Trisha Yearwood comes in?
I really wish we had a camera on these episodes because Michelle's making a very adult gesture for Trisha Yearwood and Garth Brooks and using the phrase, "Is this where she comes in?" So yes, Trisha Yearwood is heavily featured on the harmony vocals on the entire record, and she had sang on other Garth albums as well, but this was more or less like when the general public was like, wait a minute. There's something going on
the
there.
The P's going in the vagine.
Yes, that's what the general public was saying.
I know.
At that time.
I was there.
So, but Rope in the Wind is, for me personally, it's a huge game changer. We just had a YouTube video come out on it this week, but I was very much in my young and like, no, I don't want to listen to any country because my dad listened to country and brr,
Yeah.
And I took a job doing, like floor cleaning overnight with a dude, friend of the family, and we went to this job site and he had like one of those like yellow industrial boom boxes that you see, for job sites. And that dude had one cassette, Rope in the Wind by Garth Brooks. And I was like the whole first 2 nights, I was just like, I'm going to murder this Garth Brooks. I'm going to find this guy and kill him. And then by like the 3rd night, I'm singing along with What She's Doing Now and Rodeo and everything,
So what you're saying is I need to listen to Garth Brooks nonstop on cassette.
For a minimum of 16 hours.
And then I'll love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
And then you won't even fall asleep at one of the shows.
I won't.
Yeah. So Rope in the Wind, though, was monster. Like, it doesn't even have his biggest hits on it, but it was just huge in 91. That's what spawned if you go on YouTube, you can look for Lars Ulrich being interviewed by somebody because Metallica got lost out to him for a Grammy in, I think, like Best New Album or Best Album of the Year or something like that. And there's a video of Lars Ulrich being like, who the hell is Garth Brooks? Because he'd never even heard of him before. So Garth did that. Mariah Carey dropped Emotions. Next, again with the diversity, which, like, say what you want about Mariah, but that record was a big change for her. That's where she started down, because when her first record, in many ways, is like a Michael Bublé record. It's like a adult contemporary, and she could have kept going down that path and then been like a Celine Dion type artist. But I feel like Emotions was like the one that was like, I can do more than just that. And it launched her. She was already a big deal on the first record, but on Emotions, that was just threw her into the stratosphere, which is awesome. The following week, the same day as Mariah Carey Emotions came out, Ozzy Osbourne's best album, No More Tears, came out, which is just a masterpiece of rock. Yes, Michelle, most of your favorites are on there.
Crazy Train?
No. Crazy Train is on his debut album from 10 years before. No More Tears. Very close. Very close. Yeah, so you were within 10 years and 6 albums.
That's the only song I can name.
Mama, Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Yeah.
I've said this phrase on the show before, but that's what Michelle sounds like when she's lying. So the same day...
Wait, were you saying Queen?
No, I got where she was going with it. So Garth Brooks, Rope in the Wind, Mariah Carey, Emotions, Ozzy Osbourne, No More Tears, and then on the same day, Guns N' Roses released not 1 but 2 albums. Not 1 song, but 30 songs over the 2 LPs.
I'm sorry, what?
Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 finally came out. Yeah. Now, you're never going to believe this next part of the story, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys anyways. Use Your Illusion was originally supposed to come out in 1989.
No way.
Yeah. I'm glad you're both sitting for this. And then it got delayed into early 90. And then into late 91, and then it got delayed to spring of 91, and then it got delayed to September of 91, and finally came out. But the difference is, like, when they delayed Chinese Democracy forever, when it came out, it was 1 CD with 14 songs, right? Like, with Use Your Illusion, they dropped 2 records on the same day, and was 30 songs between them. And there's like maybe 4 or 5 songs that I wouldn't want to ever hear again on those records, and everything else is fire. Like,
you're an avid Guns N' Roser. So
I am. That's a new phrase.
Guns N' Rosian?
Yeah, we need to trademark that.
Guns N' Roser.
No, I like his. We'll trademark Kyle's.
I'm going to go.
What made them drop 2 separate records instead of just making it like a dope? Yeah.
Funny you should mention. I have a story for that. So Slash grew up a huge Led Zeppelin fan, and Led Zeppelin's 5th album sixth album, Physical Graffiti, was a double LP.
Yeah.
And he couldn't afford it when he was a kid. So he was like, I want to go get the new Led Zeppelin. He couldn't afford it because it was 2 LPs in one set.
Yeah.
So Slash was the guy who was like adamant that it had to be two separate works. Because if somebody was young and they wanted the new GNR but they couldn't afford it, they could get one or the other at least, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of unique things about it. Like one of the biggest hits on the album was the single Don't Cry. And a lot of people don't know this, but it's on both Use Your Illusion albums. And instead of it being on the same song being on both albums, there's completely different lyrics for the one that's on Use Your Illusion 2 from the one that are on Use Your Illusion 1. So if you ever hear that song on the radio, they always play the one from Use Your Illusion 1. But the version on Use Your Illusion 2 has lyrics that Axl wrote later, like because they were going to put it on both albums. And he was like, well, I want to write different lyrics. And the lyrics on the second one are way better than the lyrics on the first one. Like way better. Like you're like, oh boy, you got way better at writing songs between the time that you rewrote that song. But they're just monster records. And they finally came out. And you would talk about an event. That was a huge thing. Like people were really waiting for years for this to finally happen.
And they still are.
And it was the one, but it was the one time GNR made good on it, you know? Like this new song, it's been 13 years since their last record, and they put out one song and it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know, at least on this day, they made good on both albums and 30 songs. And like I say, Locomotive's like 9 minutes long. Coma is in that range. November Rain is around 10 minutes. Like they were like, we got some songs, you know, we got some beefy stuff coming. So, then things really start taking a turn into, what would start to be the birth of alternative. Around that time, the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out, which I know, Michelle, I know it's a running joke on the show that you don't like them, but this record for me, I'm so conflicted about because it's such a great, diverse album.
Mm-hmm.
But it has Under the Bridge on it. And I don't mind Under the Bridge. What I mind is that the Chili Peppers have cashed that register so many times.
Yeah.
Like the reason you dislike the Chili Peppers greatly is because all they keep doing is rewriting Under the Bridge.
Wait, do they like California?
They do. They do.
I would never have guessed that.
A lot of bridges in California.
Yep.
But if right now, if you were to get in the car and stream Blood Sugar Sex Magic and not play Under the Bridge, you would never guess that Under the Bridge came from that album.
Yeah.
And the albums that they had before that were 100% different than what they became. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, I've said on the show many, many times that I'm not the guy that's like, I like their old stuff, but I really was a big Chili Peppers guy until they started rewriting Under the Bridge for every song after that, or every album after that. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, huge album. And again, like to give people an idea, when people say, oh, well, alternative happened and it just ruined everything else. The first time I ever saw Soundgarden was opening for GNR on the Use Your Illusion tour. So
that's awesome.
You know, it wasn't like all of a sudden these bands from Seattle moved in and everybody from LA had to move out.
Yeah.
You know, I said the first time I ever saw the Smashing Pumpkins was opening for Guns N' Roses. You know, so a lot of these guys had to go through the LA door to get out to the rest of the world.
Right.
So, and Michelle, totally being serious. We've never talked about this much. You're not a big Soundgarden person, right? Like they're just there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate them.
I like that album, Bad Motorfinger, a great deal, and I like their album after the next, which Super Unknown is the one that blew them up.
Yeah.
Everybody loves, but the album after that, Down on the Upside, is one I really
Down on the Upside's great.
Yeah. And then September 24th, Nevermind by Nirvana came out, which has been talked about ad nauseum. Like, I don't think we really need to talk a lot about.
I'm not familiar. Go on.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard of this. Who is this?
Who is this, Nirvana?
Yeah. Where are they from?
Seattle.
Yay.
I was there.
Once, yes. You were in the city of Seattle once. You weren't there the day Nevermind came out.
You don't know where I was in, what is it, September?
How old were you?
October. 5.
Okay.
I could have been there.
Yeah, well, you never know. With you, Kyle, like I know you, I think you were very retroactive with the Black Album. Like you went back years later and got into Metallica through the Black Album.
Yeah, because so I started out on their older stuff that was like on the riff constantly, like Unforgiven 2, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then went back later on, was like, holy shit, like their older stuff is way better than their newer stuff. Like,
and what about Nirvana with Nevermind? Like, did you hear that when it was new, or years later did you get into it?
No, I didn't hear it when it was new because I was a little tiny kid. But like,
And they don't have radios when you're small. I feel as you know, no one can listen to the radio until they're at least 7.
They don't have the right frequencies.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
It's like dogs.
I feel like that was definitely probably on the radio at some point when I was a little kid, but I didn't get into them until I was like, I don't know, maybe like 13 or 14.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I hate to keep going to this well, but Nirvana for you, Michelle, very just there.
Just there.
Yeah. You don't have anything that you truly, really like by Nirvana? That's crazy.
Okay.
Listen, we're running a little long. I'm going to need you to really dial it back, Michelle. You're talking entirely too much.
I enjoyed Soaked in Bleach.
The movie?
Yes.
Sweet. So anyways.
That's how much I Nirvana.
All right. On that same day, something that doesn't get any of the love that it should for the diversity and the impact that it had on hip-hop is on the same day as Nevermind, The Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest came out. And now, Michelle, would you also like a listener to educate you on A Tribe Called Quest?
Yes.
Okay. Little louder.
Yes!
Thank you. Tribe Called Quest is one of those acts like De La Soul at the time that just was inventing a whole different genre of rap that still has echoes today. Like a lot of what you listen to, like a lot of what you bring to the Jammy Jams every week, none of those people would exist without De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest. And Tribe had a new record come out about 5 years ago or so that was absolutely fantastic, but they're one of those bands that they're just like, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
They're no rush.
Yeah, they're just, and they, like many in the hip hop community, they have their hands in a lot of different enterprises, and it's the music isn't anything that's urgent for them. But the Low End Theory is, in my opinion, it always gets left out of discussions about like The Chronic and Public Enemy and a lot of the things that happened in the early 90s. No one ever mentions that record, and they should.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, fantastic album, and it came out the same day as Nevermind. Then we get into October, and you have Ugly Kid Joe's first record came out, which is not gargantuan, but I think it is worth mentioning because they were one of those bands that kind of bridged, like they looked like Seattle, but their music was definitely hair metal. So it was the first time I saw that experiment from a record label, where they were like, well, we'll just play the music that this group likes and we'll appeal to the people with this visual, But on the same day as that, Prince put out Diamonds and Pearls, which is a great record that we were just talking about this album last night. Do you guys know the album real well outside of like the singles, like, Cream and Get Off and Title Song?
Yeah.
So Diamonds and Pearls gets really hated on isn't the right phrase, but like if you talk to big Prince fans and you're like, oh, what's your least favorite Prince albums? Diamonds and Pearls will always come up. And I don't get that. Like, it's a really, really good record. And I mean, like I said, the singles Cream, Get Off, the title cut, Money Don't Matter Tonight was a single off of there. But you have this year that's already gargantuan. And then all of a sudden Prince is like, here's a brand new album, And then the original versions of the album you will talk about money that record labels used to spend on albums.
Oh, yeah.
The original cover for the record had a hologram. The size of the CD cover was a hologram where Prince and two girls were standing there, and like if you spun it, it's like the camera angle would change on it. But that was on every single copy of Diamonds and Pearls. Like they just put that kind of money into it. That obviously before Warner and Prince had bad relations years later, Warner was like, yeah, we'll put all that money into this. It's not like you're going to sue us in a couple of years. Motley Crue put out a best of that year, which to me is only notable because the lead single off of it was a much harder song than Motley Crue was known for. And a lot of Motley Crue fans were like, yeah, I love that they're going to go in this direction. And then they immediately broke up. So we were all pretty upset about that at the time. Stevie Ray Vaughan, The Sky is Crying, came out in November, which was a big deal because Stevie had passed away. And so this was the first time that we got like any, recordings we hadn't heard or anything like that.
I got an October for you.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I was going to leave time at the end for like you said last week.
I'll leave it at the end and we'll do it.
Oh, all right.
Instead of interjecting. I was just trying to fit in with the timeline.
Oh, yeah. Doing it Terminator style, trying to figure out where it goes on the timeline.
Slip it in. Who does that?
I heard that's how you guys got a baby.
That's how we got the
baby? Going into the end of the year, some huge releases just ridiculous. Like, if the whole year, the records that we're about to talk about came out, it still would have been a big year.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of November, you have Tupac's debut album comes out, Tupacalypse Now, which I don't think is anybody's favorite Tupac record, but it certainly set the standard. And Michelle, out of all of Tupac's records, which ones are your favorites?
That one. The one you just said.
Yeah, so it's, yeah. What a great title for it, too, the one you just said.
Maybe the one after it, so good.
Probably the riskiest move of the entire year was right in the middle of November, U2 put out Achtung Baby, which is a complete and total change from anything that U2 had done before. Like, I know, Michelle, you're not a huge U2 person, but, like, Mysterious Ways.
Sing it. I don't think I do.
It's like if I played the song right now, as soon as it started.
What you don't do is know song titles. You do know songs.
Which the whole chorus is him saying Mysterious Ways a lot, so I got nothing. So, but it's far different than anything that they had done before. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, With or Without You. It's 100% different than anything they'd done before. So it was a very, very, very big risk, and especially at that time of the year, like we've talked about before, where that time of the year people would always just put out like greatest hits and live albums to be like, get this for somebody for Christmas. And U2 was like, okay, get this for somebody, but if they're a U2 fan, they might not like it,
I feel like it was a risk that eventually paid off, because whenever you talk about U2, that album gets brought up immediately.
For sure. No, that paid off immediately.
Yeah.
Like, they, for whatever reason, it blew up like immediately. The lead single off the album was called The Fly, and that did okay. Like, to this day, no one loves that song. But One and Mysterious Ways blew up. So did Who's Gonna Run Your Wild Horses, and Even Better Than the Real Thing. So the album was like loaded with big singles and people just accepted it. Like, nobody did what they did to Metallica. Like, there was not a faction of U2 fans that were like, this isn't my U2. Like, people were just like, oh, okay, sweet. Like, and U2 had been around as long as Metallica.
Yeah.
So it was very strange that their fan base was more open.
Maybe metal fans are not open.
We'll do a whole episode where you can teach us about that.
No, thank you. I said maybe, man.
Right. So the last two that I had to talk about, one was way late in the year, and November 26th, Michael Jackson Dangerous came out, which is just a ridiculous monster album. Black or White, Who Is It, Given to Me, Remember the Time, my all-time favorite Michael Jackson song, Will You Be There, Heal the World. I mean, it's just a ridiculous album. Like, so this guy goes and is like, I'm going to just drop a record that, is every bit as good as Bad or Thriller, just right here in the middle of this gargantuan year. Like, they could have pushed that back too and been like, let's do maybe spring for that, but because of who it was and how strong the material was, they were like, boom. And then the other one, I'm just going to cap this off for two reasons. One, I love this band. They were huge in the 90s and they've really died off since then. But the band live, their debut album came out on December 31st, 1991. They were like, hey, we want to be in this conversation forever, about how awesome 1991 is. And their album, Mental Jewelry, it was, when I first heard that album, I was like, damn it, there's something about this band. Like, I really love this album. And then the album after it, is the one that blew up with I Alone and Lightning Crashes and everything. But that first record is a hell of a debut. And I love the fact, like, when I was looking up information on this for 1991, I was so excited that it was on December 31st. Their live was like, oh, we're going to be in that conversation, And I feel like a lot of people would look at that and just be like, oh, and that came out too. Like, it was a big deal, So I'm sure, Michelle, you have a list of albums that I left off that you want to talk about, but let's go to Kyle first.
Yeah, I think Kyle's going to say the same ones as me. It's going to be weird.
It's going to
be
crazy.
Let's see, what do I got? Death Certificate by Ice Cube.
Oh, yeah.
Which is his second album. Came out, and that is back when he was... just lighting shit on fire lyrically.
Just lighting people on fire, like, just.
Yeah, he.
Talk about diss tracks, man. Like, that dude. It was like if you were in the press, if it was like, hey, what does Dre and Easy really think? Ice Cube would be like, well, here's my thoughts.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that, like, refuses to care that he might offend somebody or
Ice Cube then.
Yes, no. Ice Cube in the 90s is not the same Ice Cube that has made the barbershop 6 times now.
It's not the same man who raised me.
So you wanted to say something that no one could hear.
Yeah, well,
Sweet.
You could hear it and you get the joke.
That's generally what we're shooting for on this show is things where...
Inside jokes.
Yeah, inside jokes that no one gets. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself.
Okay.
It just comes out.
Kyle, what else do you got?
So there's death certificate. So that came out back when Ice Cube didn't care who he offended and spoke his mind and was fantastic.
Before that good movie studio money.
Yes, and then the Juice soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that's.
And
a great
then
one.
Boys in the Hood soundtrack both came out in '91.
Yeah,
and if the soundtracks. You gotta go watch the movie for the soundtracks to be important, basically. But
I agree with that.
Yeah, the movies were huge movies. Very, very important movies.
Those movies were absolutely.
I just realized I sounded like Donald Trump when I was talking.
Yeah, huge movies.
Very important movies. Huge movies.
Well, I will say this: if there's something Donald Trump's going to talk about, it is not going to be about movies that focus on the plight of the African American.
That is true.
So you definitely don't sound like him. In that, but I would say those movies were very much reactionary to the culture that came about from PE and NWA, bringing that to and Ice-T for that matter too. Like there's a track on we talked about in the first half of the episode with Ice-T's Original Gangster, where there's a track on that where he's like, when I watch TV, I don't see my life. He's like, the cops don't come to get the cat out of the tree. Like my friends don't die of old age. Yeah, you know, like and those albums made for Hollywood to get involved and make, as with all things, the first through the door is like the good and pure version. Yeah. So you had like Juice, Pump Up the Volume, Boys in the Hood, those things. And then the soundtracks turned around and brought, like you said, more of that music to the masses. Because if you went and saw that movie, even if you were just suburban white guy and you're like, oh, I'm going to go see the Boys in the Hood that people were talking about. You know, like when you see that movie, you hear that music and then you buy the soundtrack, it reminds you of everything that was important in the messaging in the film.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, like I could just read off, various songs from the soundtrack, but you're going to be like, what the hell is that? Because they weren't like huge hits like on their own, Right. So like you literally do have to like see the movie and then be able to relate to what you're listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that also speaks to the diversity that we talked about a great deal, where, it was the whole world didn't stop when Nevermind came out. Like there was so much else going on.
I very much think that I don't know which movie studios produced Juice and Boys in the Hood, but I'm thinking one was reactionary to the other because one had a Boys in the Hood, the other one's going to have Juice, and it's going to be the same kind of.
Everybody going to get in on that money? Yeah. What else do you got?
That was it.
And then Michelle, were the exact same ones.
Yeah, weird.
That's so weird. That is the exact.
He was in my head.
I know you guys lived together, but that's so weird that his list was the exact same as yours. So Kyle, I would venture to say, and Michelle, I'm going to give you a heads up on the fact that I'm going to ask Kyle a question right now, and you should be thinking of your answer as well. I have to assume, but I will ask anyways, that if you had to pick your favorite album of 1991,
I wasn't taking notes.
It's got, what you could have been doing is listening.
What?
Yeah, listening, interacting with, doing more than just shaking your head yes and no to questions throughout the entire. Yep. I see you. Yep. So James Hetfield leads us into. I'm going to assume that the Black Album has to be your favorite album.
Yep, it is.
And again, like we don't have to get into a huge discussion about it, but even against Nevermind and Dangerous and so many, but like out of everything, the Black Album is yours.
Yeah, and I think it's just because I maybe got into Metallica before I got into the other groups that came. Like, sure. I wasn't into Garth Brooks till later in life.
Right.
So, like, it didn't mean as much to me, but, like, the Black Album, it's just...
I hear you. Michelle, is there any chance you have any idea what your favorite album from 1991 is?
Innuendo.
By Queen.
Yep. Innuendo
by Queen. Honestly,
that was a Freudian slip.
You know what's funny about what's funny about this for me is that there's so much from this year that speaks directly to me. Like if you've ever talked to me about my favorite artists, all of them delivered their masterpieces in this year. You know, so honest to God, for diversity of music alone from '91, I would have to go with Use Your Illusion. And if I don't get to count,
it's not because of GNR.
it is because of GNR, because they made the records.
You said it was diversity alone.
Yeah, because Guns N' Roses made more diverse album than anyone else did.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, holy shit.
Welcome to the show.
You know what I love, and I'm going to think about this again tomorrow, is when I'm editing, is when I have to stop, zoom in on what you said, highlight it, and amplify it. Because you refuse to speak at a volume that our listeners can hear.
What?
Yes. Won't have to amplify that one.
Okay.
Yeah. But like Michael Jackson, as much as I love Michael Jackson, that album, if you listen to Jam, that whole album sounds like Jam, right?
Yeah.
And it very, like, same way with almost every other record that year, like the Black Album. If you listen to Enter Sandman, you know what the rest of the Black Album sounds like.
So were you really poor in 1991?
From
having to buy all these records?
First of all, it's none of your business.
From having to buy all these records.
Yeah, no, I absolutely was at the record store every 2 minutes buying every single thing. Yeah. And I wasn't poor so much as my folks were. I just made them buy everything back then.
How old were you?
16. So I was like, please buy this.
And they were like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you heard stories about how awesome my mom was? She was just like, yep, we'll go get that. But as far as that goes, like, for me, like, if you start the Use Your Illusion album with Right Next Door to Hell, which is like a punk rock song, over the course of the record, you're going to hear ballads, orchestrated songs. There's a techno song on it, for crying out loud. Like, it's got so much different diversity on it that if I would, like, the Use Your Illusion albums for me are almost desert island records, where I would easily pick those as like something to take. So, and then if I have to pick between Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, like if you want to say just one album, I would probably go with 2 over 1, but that changes every day. If you ask me this question tomorrow, I'm going to say 1 over 2. So
good to know.
Yep. Yeah. Please make a mental note.
I have it in my spreadsheet.
I appreciate that. So that is our rundown of 1991, which probably could have been 3 parts. This episode's run a little bit long, but that's fine. I mean, it was Michelle's fault. She had so much to say.
I just can't shut up.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So now that we are at the end of this discussion of all the gargantuan records that came out in 1991, it is now time for you to get involved. And as we said earlier, tell us the albums that we missed, or which ones are your favorites. If you could only buy one album from 1991, what would it be? Obviously, I think for Michelle, it's obviously Octane Baby by U2. She just knows the album so well.
Right.
That's probably it. So when we come back next week, we are into our album review, where a lot of people have been waiting for us to get to the listener pick, and we discussed this ahead of time. Going forward, we will put it on social media and just say, hey, give us your lists, and we'll work from the list. And yes, Seth, we're very aware that you would like us to do the Black Parade, and we have other people who have reached out to us. But we mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the show that very good friend of the show, Jamie Porter, and his family suffered from a California wildfire, and they lost everything. So we just decided to automatically pick Jamie for his album review for next week, and that'll be the first one. And it's interesting for me because I've never heard this album. I've heard like one song off of it, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
So for me, it's going to be a completely new thing. And of course, Michelle's never heard it because it's music.
Music, what?
Yeah. So we are going to be doing the Who's Next for our album review next week, which I think this is going to be interesting because we're all three of us, instead of one of us having a strong opinion on this record, all three of us are going to come in being like, huh? So it's going to be interesting. So that is what you have to look forward to next week. As we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Infectious Groove Podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.